Roller derby is played in increments called jams. Each jam lasts up to 2 minutes. Both teams field up to 5 skaters at the start of the jam. 4 of these skaters are called blockers, and 1 is called the jammer. The jammer wears a helmet cover with a star on it and scores points for the team. The blockers are playing both offense and defense at the same time, and together they make up what is called the pack. The 2 jammers start each jam behind the pack and must get through all of these skaters for an initial pass before they can begin to score points. When the initial pass is complete, a jammer can score 1 point for every opponent they pass with their hips. The first jammer out of the pack legally is declared lead jammer, which means they can end the jam anytime they want before the 2 minutes are up. Sounds easy, right?
And feel free to move it to whatever space you want. Okay. To make it easier for you. I want to show you on here. We made some adjustments from yesterday, so you can look here instead of having to go up there or over there. If you want to switch over to the scoreboard, in theory this will work. I haven't adjusted it yet. Let's just refresh.
Going on at 3. Do you want to call Rat or Kansas?
Either are. And then do you want to just alternate jams?
Yeah. I'll call out Kansas and call out Rat. Already have what happened in the previous games for them and that sort of thing. This is the no for who already got MVPs.
Okay, well, I don't.
We'll get them in the end. So we're all organized. Just need to announce now.
Alright. Hopefully this comes up
I
eventually.
can also keep track of the points too.
Okay, there you go.
So that way we can.
Yeah, I don't normally do that. I'm a talker, so I'm like, I look and talk.
We're good. We can go live.
For this, if sound needs to go up for some reason,
We're
like
going?
there's a timeout or
Are we live?
Welcome back to day 2 at Monsoon Madness here in Mesa, Arizona, out of the Arizona Athletic Grounds, hosted by Arizona Roller Derby. We are at the second game of the day between Kansas City Roller Warriors and Rat City Reign of Terror. I'm here joined by,
Hit me, Brewston.
and I'm Vampira. So, we're about to get back to some roller derby in 2 minutes, but just a little bit of what happened in the previous game. It was Baja B versus Minnesota? Yeah, versus Minnesota. Minnesota taking the win. So tomorrow, the Minnesota Nice will be playing the winner of this game between Kansas and Rat City at noon. And whoever loses the game will go to play Baja B at 10 a.m. Yesterday, we did see Kansas play against Arizona Rising, which was an exciting game where we resulted in 131 for Arizona and 123 for Kansas. Kansas being the 2nd seed in the tournament, and Rat City, the 6th seed, scoring 100 points. And Wasatch 164. So we'll see what kind of game we see played between Rat City and Kansas. What do you expect out of this game?
I know I'm expecting a whole lot of really good derby. I'm excited to watch it and see how the game unfolds.
No, I agree. Rat City definitely has the benefit of a couple ace skaters playing with them. I'm sure Kansas City also has that expectation, being an all-stars team themselves. So definitely going to be a lot of hard hits, a lot of fast play, I think. Maybe some quick jams here and there, but I hope we see some long-run jams too.
I feel like that's where you really get to see teams come through, is in those longer jams, because they're having to do more switching
work
between offense and defense.
Exactly.
Versus, that one quick movement, hit it and quit it, get your points and call it.
Exactly. So we're running down the time to derby clock, less than 10 seconds, and everybody is on the track and getting ready to go. We would like to thank our event sponsor, 888 and 187 Killer Pads. Monsoon Madness loves 888 and 187 because they do make roller derby more accessible. And we're off to the races. We have Rockzilla for Rat City going up against Cecilia Payne for Kansas. Everybody just moving side to side, trying to contain each jammer. Rat City recycling back Cecilia Payne. Trading up the spacing here. Rockzilla taking the front of the pack with Kansas City, just keeping them well contained, allowing time for Cecilia Payne to get out with lead right off the bat here. But we're still in the first straightaway here. They haven't even gotten to the apex quite yet. Rat City recycling again. That pivot number 4-2 for Rat City has their number. That's Velvet Hammer just returning that jammer back into their tripod. Rockzilla still being well contained by Kansas City, just as Cecilia Payne is out with 4 points in the air. Rockzilla still working on their initial, but drops the star, has to return and grab it in hand before they return to play. Get some offense from their teammate, number 168. That is Y-Fly. Number 1-5 being sent to the Night Owl penalty box along with a blocker from Rat City. So one blocker apiece from each team. Cecilia Payne now running around for their third scoring pass, but gets some offensive hit on them by the jammer from Rat City. Everybody still in turn one. Very slow and well thought out defense here between the two teams. Cecilia Payne having one more player to go around, but gets knocked to the outside lane. But that sends number 81 to the Night Owl penalty box, keeping two players in the box. So that's one blocker for Kansas City standing in the Night Owl penalty box, one blocker sitting for Rat City. 12 points for Kansas and 0 for Rat City.
And it looks like we're going to have Steele out there for Kansas City and Ponyboy Hurtis for Rat City. And that is the whistle. You have Ponyboy trying to push through that center while Steele goes to the inside lines. Bumped out and recycled back, trying to still take that inside line going to the out. You have, there's a little bit of a, trying to get a little low there for Ponyboy Hurtis, who is now going to go towards that inside line. But it is Steele who ends up with your lead jammer status. Ponyboy Hurtis not too far behind. It looks like there was a forearm penalty that was assessed to number 45 there for Kansas City. And let's see. There's also another penalty going to a Kansas City blocker. So it looks like they're going to be starting 2 down in this next jam. And that was 4 points on the board for Kansas City.
So far 2 scoreless jams for Rat City against Kansas. Oh, wait, no. They break that. Actually, 2 points were picked up in that last jam. So it's now up to Made in China going up against Manny Petty for Kansas City. But yeah, it is Made in China's chance here to make some points for their team. Made in China going through the inside and out with lead on a power jam, as we do see Manny Petty sent to the Night Owl penalty box. Has 2 blockers on the track to contend with, sends their team on an offense strike. But the pack picking up speed, but this breaks them up enough to give Made in China some time to bust through the pack and out with 4 points in the air for Rat City. We do see the return of a blocker from Kansas City, so now we're just waiting for Manny Petty to return from the Night Owl penalty box. We do see them standing and now released. Picking up speed around the track, trying to catch up to the pack, which is now stalled in between turns 3 and 4 here. And out through the inside lane on their initial is Manny Petty. The bench for Rat City is asking Made in China to call it before they hit the pack. And at the end of that, we get 4 points apiece. No, 7 for Rat City and 4 for Kansas. Rat City taking that jam, bringing up the score to 9 for Rat and 20 for Kansas City.
And now we have Stabby Cat and Helvetica out on the jam line. You have Helvetica running right up that inside line, picking up lead jammer. We have Stabby Cat still trying to get past that wall that's out there, pushing in the front of the pack. There's a little bit of offensive help in the front, trying to make it a little bit easier for that jammer. Helvetica back in the pack in the back, trying to break through this Rat City tripod, finding a little bit of space on that outside line, tiptoeing across, picking up 4 points. The star is off the helmet of Stabby Cat. Going to see if they can get a little more forward momentum without it. And it does seem to be helping them, as you see more blockers bridging, and they have one left to go to be finally out of the pack, while Helvetica is making their way past their final blocker in Rat City. And it looks like there is going to be a cut track penalty that was called on Helvetica. There was a good last minute hit there, knocking them out of bounds. It looks like there was a star pass as well. So our new jammer of record for Rat City is Master Bowder. And that was a no pass, no penalty on that because the other blocker did fall down. Let's see what Master Bowder can do with the rest of this power jam. They're reapproaching the pack and getting some offensive help, finding some space on that inside line is going to make it through for 4 points. And we have Helvetica back out on the track, going along the outside, finding space that, their teammates gave them a little space there. Now we have Master Bowder trying to find their way, getting a little bit more resistance, while Helvetica finds some more space on that outside line, picking up 4 more points. Master Bowder is now out of the pack as well. Let's see if any more points can be scored. Let's see. Did Helvetica get any more? She did pick up all 4 of those points on the pass. I believe that is 16 points. I don't think it's changed yet. Yep, there we go. That is a 16-point jam for Kansas City. Not unanswered, though. Rat City did also pick up 11 points in that jam, leaving the score at 36 for Kansas City and 20 for Rat City.
A nice productive jam there for both teams. And a timeout being called. Who called the timeout? An official called the timeout. We'll let them take care of whatever they'd like to take care of. And in the meantime, we'd like to take some time to get right back to the jam. It was a quick, oh, no, wait. Never mind. It is an official timeout still. This timeout brought to you by Crash Course. Crash Course presents Derby in Paradise, a 7-day roller derby retreat to recharge your body, reignite your game, and connect with new roller derby vigor. Check out Crash Course. This timeout also brought to you by RollerCon 2026. If you love roller skating, you know that the magic happens when Roller Derby Park and roller skaters of all disciplines get together. RollerCon will be between July 8th and 12th, 2026 at Expo Center in Las Vegas. Enter the raffle to win an MVP pass. And this is Cecilia Payne going up against Sheer Force for Rat City. Sheer Force showing the sheer force of their jamming skills by pushing up the last 2 Kansas City blockers. But the sheer force is overtaken by Cecilia Payne, who gets lead for Kansas. Forcing the star off on sheer force and passing it over, trying to pass it over to their pivot, who is trying to run some offense in the meantime. Cecilia Payne coming around for a scoring pass and finds some room on the outside lane and skips through the inside, out with 4 points for Kansas City. Sheer Force trying to find their pivot, who took the star and is sent to the Night Owl penalty box. So this is a power jam for Kansas City. Cinnamon Slam held tight in the box. Cecilia Payne coming around a bit slowly to assess where their O is going and takes the center of the track. Is recycled to the out and back. We do see one of the Rat City blockers going to the box just as Cinnamon Slam is standing in the penalty box. Oh no, another blocker for Rat City sent to the Night Owl penalty box. So this is only 2 blockers on the track to run some 0-4 Cinnamon Slam here, who has returned to the track. Cecilia Payne coming around for a 4th scoring pass, I believe, but is recycled back by our Rat City blocking force here, but gets some offense to the inside, but Rat quick on that recycle to the inside lane before Cecilia Payne takes the outside and then the in and skips through with 4 points in the air. Checks the bench to see if they should call it. Takes a little bit of a breather, but everybody has returned to the track out of the Night Owl penalty box. Lets that jam come to its natural conclusion. A huge scoring jam for Cecilia Payne. 16 points in the air. Kansas City now sitting at 52 to Rat City's 20. A team timeout called by Rat City. Who do we have to thank for our... Yeah.
And for this team timeout, we have Crash Course presents Derby in Paradise, a 7-day roller derby retreat to recharge your body, reignite your game, and connect with new roller derby friends. I don't know, it's cut off. New roller derby.
Just read what is there. I just kind of like ad-libbed.
Yeah. This event is sponsored by Sisu Mouthguards, trusted by roller derby athletes for comfort, protection, and a custom fit. Play hard, stay protected with Sisu. And that is going to be Steel and Roxzilla out on the Razor Cake Jam line for you. And it is Steel that is picking up your lead jammer status. Roxzilla is still trying to fight through that pack while Roxzilla is reapproaching, finding some space up in the middle to meet up at that front pack. And there is a multiplayer that's going to be called on a Rat City blocker. And there's a forearm being assessed to another Rat City blocker. So now they are 2 down while Steel is picking up 4 points coming through that pack. Rabbit and Oh, nickname. I got you.
My brain.
Steel is coming back into the pack on, I believe, their 3rd scoring pass now. Getting a little bit of offensive help from their friend there, Lucy Fear. And there is a penalty that's being assessed to, that's number 28, Singh. Steele's trying to find a little space on the outside while there's some beautiful footwork there by Rox. And that is going to be the end of that jam. Kansas City picking up 3 more points, bringing their total to 63 to Rat City's 20. It's a 43-point difference. Not too many penalties. I think we just really need to see Rat City kind of buckle down right now, and there could be an easy turnaround in this game.
It's all about containing those jammers. But right now we see Manny Petty going a bit against Ponyboy Hurtis. Manny is out with lead for Kansas. Meanwhile, Pony is taken to the outside lane, recycled by the pivot for Kansas. Manny quickly coming around and trying to break through that seam, and a no-pack call forcing out Manny with 4 points in the air. Oh, both the blocker and jammer taken out, so that means Pony can get through, but before they can come around to the pack, Manny calls the jam off, forcing that call off. That is 4 points in the air for Kansas, 67 now, keeping Rat City at 20.
Who's Rabbit?
One of the blockers.
Okay. Oh.
That was from like the last one.
And it looks like it's going to be Helvetica and Made in China back out on the jam line. And Made in China's finding some space in the front of the pack, pushing against that four wall, trying to hop around, doesn't quite make it, and does recycle back behind. Helvetica still pushing in the back against that Rat City wall. They're closing those seams nice and tight and trying to go all the way line to line and not really giving Helvetica any space, although she does, almost find it. Recycled to the outside of the track while Made in China is being recycled on the inside. A little. I think they turned me down. And Helvetica, because my face is like right in the mic. And that's Helvetica out there picking up 4 more points. Made in China trying to get help on the outside. And there is a forum that's going to be assessed for that hit to Made in China there. And there's also going to be a power jam with Kansas City's blocker going to the box. Going to go ahead and end that jam. So it is going to be a power start for Rat City. Yeah, I think they turned it down, please.
You are right. That is a power start, and everybody making their home here on the Arizona Goat Yoga pivot line, ready to race away from Stabby Cat, who is the jammer for Rat City now. Rat City picking up a little bit of speed to run some offense for Stabby. Takes a little bit of a knee, a little bit of a swing around through the outside, but is stuffed. The offense kind of getting in the way of their jammer a little bit. Kansas City's blocker 1027 recycles back Stabby, and we do see the return of number 1313, the blocker for Kansas City, to run some defense here. And Helvetica back on the track too from the Night Owl penalty box. Helvetica hitting the back of the pack into that tripod, trying to push their way through that seam. Get some offense here from number 1313. That's Gorticia Adams running some offense for Helvetica. Helvetica now 2 blockers, 2 run through, swings through, but knocked to the inside lane. Stabby Cat still hasn't gotten through, and just as I say that, out through the inside and assessed lead. But Helvetica quickly gaining speed on Stabby. Stabby hitting the pack quick and calls it before Helvetica can reach the pack. Did any points get picked up by Helvetica? I think that's 1 finger in the air probably. No, 2 fingers in the air.
2 fingers.
2 fingers. So that was Stabby with 1 point and 2 points picked up by Helvetica. Bringing up the score to 70 for Kansas and 25 for Rat City.
And Cecilia Payne and Sheer Forrest are back on the Razor Cake Jam line. There is a cut track going to Rat City's pivot. Rat City's pushing in the front of the pack, but it is going to be Cecilia Payne on that inside line. That is your lead jammer. There is I believe, a forearm that was assessed to Rat City blocker Rabid. Cecilia Payne reapproaching the pack, gets bumped to the inside, does decide to call it. It looks like they may have gotten hit in the neck. It happens sometimes.
That was a goose egg jam. No points picked up there, which is fine. You know, sometimes we need a break from all that action, I guess.
I mean, every now and then it's all right.
Every
Not
now
too
and
much.
then. Exactly. Well, we have Steele going up against Rockzilla. Steele taking that outside lane and out with lead for Kansas. Coming around the track. Meanwhile, Rockzilla having to contend with the solid tripod that's just turning round and round to contain Rockzilla, just as Steele comes around with a scoring pass, but this is a power jam. Rockzilla being assessed a penalty for a forearm sent to the Night Owl penalty box, allowing Steele to run this jam. Steele calling for some potential O here as Rat City sets up the tripod at the back of the pack and is recycled back. Tripod reviewing and seeing where Steele will hit next and hits through the inside lane, skips through that line with ease and out with 4 points. Kansas now right on top of Rat City trying to run some offense. Meanwhile, Rockzilla now back from the Night Owl penalty box, slowly assessing where to hit and finds the path of least resistance through the inside lane, puts the star back on their helmet to run on their initial, but Steele does take a bit of a spill and calls off the jam. That was a big jam for Steele, bringing up their score to 85 after a 15-point jam, keeping Rat City at 25.
Yeah, you can see Kansas City pulling away a little bit now. It's about a 60-point difference. So let's see if Rat City can find something to turn some things around. But right now you have Manny Petty out there for Kansas City and Ponyboy Hurtis. The whistle has been blown, but it's starting off kind of a slow pack. But Manny Petty's going to try and get that pack moving with a bit of explosive movement and is going to become your lead jammer after doing so. Ponyboy Hurtis now out of the pack after finding some space on the outside. It looks like Kansas City really just trying to break those blockers apart for their jammers so they can get any points that they can. Let's see, they did pick up 3 points on that and leaving Rat City scoreless. I believe it's 88 points right now, which is a great number. And Rat City has 25. About 10 minutes, a little over 10 minutes left in this half. Plenty of derby still left to do.
Yeah, we're starting to see a lot of quick hitting jams from Kansas City every time they get lead, just to maintain that decent point spread between the two teams here. But Rat City still holding fast on that defense and getting their jammers out to force these call-offs. We do see Helvetica going up against Maiden. Helvetica having a pretty decent lead jam percentage. Maiden also pretty successful at getting out, but here we go. Helvetica out with lead. Coming around the outside, and we see Maiden also out on their initial, trying to pick up some speed to catch up to this pack that's now speeding up. Beautiful offense from Kansas to allow Helvetica out with 4 points in the air. Again, a quick hitting jam to keep that lead for Kansas City, who are now sitting at 92 points to Rat City's 25.
It looks like it's going to be Stabby Cat and Cecilia Payne out on the Razor Cake Jam line, while the rest of the pack is kind of up by the Arizona Goat Yoga pivot line. Both jammers approaching the pack. Cecilia Payne being hit to the outside while Stabby Cat is fighting past these last two blockers. There is a multiplayer that is being assessed to one of those blockers. That's going to be Lucy Fear. A little tumble in the front, and Stabby Cat is your lead jammer for Rat City. Rat City's blockers doing a great job in the back of this pack, fighting against that offense, but still holding that jammer. Stabby Cat is reapproaching the pack, trying to find some space, while Cecilia Payne is bumped to the inside line. Stabby Cat now finding a little bit more resistance on this pass. Is making some headway there. Now two blockers. They keep kind of reforming in front of them. There is one blocker in the box, the pivot for Stabby Cats in the box, but she wouldn't want to pass it right now. There has been a star pass, though, to Lucy Fear, and she is now going to be your jammer for Kansas City. And she did a great job of forcing that call off, and let's see, 4 points were picked up for Rat City, bringing their score up to 29. We have a nice little palindrome right here, 92-29.
Palindromes are fun. I also like Tide games. Tide games are fun too.
Tide games are fun.
We'll see what happens in the rest of this game between Kansas and Rat City. We have Steele on the track going up against Sheer Force. Steele taking that inside lane and out with lead for Kansas City. Sheer Force still working in that first straightaway. Everybody just working hard to contain their jammers respectively here. Kansas City at the top of the pack, having to contend with the O from Rat City, trying to let through Sheer Force. Sheer Force still held tight in the tripod. All 4 blockers for Kansas City trying to contain that jammer. Meanwhile, we do see Steele taking a shirt whip off their pivot, number 15 for Mini-Me, assisting with that 4 points in the air for Steele. Sheer Force still working at the top of the pack, trying to get out of Kansas City's defense, but they're holding fast. Kansas City really running a clinic on how to maintain your tripod despite having so much resistance. But a sneaky star pass to Master Bowder for Rat City. But before they can even hit the pack, the jam is called with how many points? 5 points picked up by Kansas City, bringing up the score to 97, keeping Rat City at 29.
In about 6 minutes left in this half, we're going to have Roxilla and Manny Petty out there now on the Razor Cake Jam line. 5 seconds has been called. And here we go. Manny Petty trying to go to the inside while Roxilla tries to go through the center. Manny Petty is finding a little bit more space on that inside as your lead jammer, but Roxilla not too far behind. Manny Petty approaching, hitting center, going towards that outside, getting some great offensive help there, but isn't quite fast enough, I don't think, to keep Rat City scoreless. Yep, Rat City did pick up 1 point there, bringing their score up to 30. Kansas City is now also past that century mark with 101 points. 5 minutes left in the game, or in this half, I'm sorry.
You're right. This first half has gone by fast, as it usually does when we're having fun. We have Helvetica going up against Ponyboy Hurtis for Rat City. Helvetica held at the back of the pack. Meanwhile, Ponyboy is recycled on the outside. Brick's Hit House is really just running that jammer ragged, just as Helvetica is released with lead. Now, Rat City running some offense quickly before they have to return to defense, as we see the return of Helvetica to the pack for a scoring pass here. Finds room on the outside lane, which seems to be pretty successful for these last 2 jams for Kansas City. They just seem to find enough room to just go through without much resistance. Rat City now at the back of the pack trying to contain Helvetica, as this is a power jam. Ponyboy in the Night Owl penalty box. This power jam brought to you by RollerDerbyCoaching.com. Be more badass on the track. Online roller derby clinics to get you to your next level. Brought to you by Snot Rocket Science. Helvetica recycled all the way back to turn 3 here. And picking up some speed. No pack called in. Helvetica recycled to the inside as we see the return of Ponyboy from the Night Owl penalty box. But Kansas City holding as far as they can, being spread out. They need to bridge. 1 more to contain them. 2 more. Ponyboy just trying to stay on the track, trying to be as close to the center of the track as possible so that they can get out. And they're out on their initial. That's Ponyboy out. Coming around quickly as Helvetica is still held at turn 4 here. And that's the end of that jam. Did they get a point? They did. They snuck a point out of that jam, bringing up Rat City's score to 31. Kansas having made 7 points there, 108 to 31 with 2.5 minutes left.
And it looks like there is an official review that is being called. I believe it is from Kansas City. So they get to have a little group chat in there. And this official review is brought to you by Crash Course. It helps roller derby athletes build strength, track confidence, and winning habits to become MVPs on and off the track. Want to make 2-minute jams feel easy? Visit ChrissyCrash.com for a 1-month trial of the Roller Derby Training Club fitness app for just $1. Life is a contact sport. Win!
We'd also like to thank all of our vendors who are here to, bring you great products and great services. We have tattoos, we have caricatures, we have products that will help you live a better life. We have services to make you feel better after a hard-fought jam. Just check out the vendor village and see what you would like to put on your body or restore from
Near or
a
around
bad
your
fall.
body.
Exactly. What do we have? I think we have blue back there. We have IV treatments. We have products that you can consume to feel better about yourself. You can get tattooed and, I always like
Just
getting
be
a
awesome.
tattoo during a tournament. Makes me feel good. I want more
maybe
pain.
the last day.
Maybe the last day. As if, getting hit by other people isn't enough. We also have to get needles to our skin. I mean,
Pain lets you know that you're alive. I got a caricature. That's a hard word to say if you're trying to say it correctly. I got one for my daughter yesterday. It was super cute. So make sure you guys do go out and check out the vendor village. There's lots of good stuff over there. And I want to say for the last game every day, they're letting admission be free. So if you're at home and nearby, come on by and check out our vendors and watch the last game every day.
well, it seems like that official review did not get retained because we are back on the track. It might have been just a timeout for them. As we see Made in China out with lead for Rat City and a high block assist to Cecilia Payne. So this is also a power jam for Maiden. Maiden out with 4 points in the air. Everybody now in turn one, just ready for the return of Maiden for another scoring pass. Kansas trying to contain, but being split up by Rat City here. Rat City now stuffing the inside and returning into a tripod, but loses Maiden on the outside lane. Here we go. Maiden looking to get those offensive players out of their way, but is recycled to the inside. But Rat City stops the run back on that jammer here. They do see that Cecilia Payne is now released from the penalty box. They try to jump that apex, but are knocked to the inside and returned back into that tripod. But the tripod not quick enough to contain Cecilia, who runs through the outside of that apex, but now contained up at the front of the pack. Maiden looking to the bench and sees that their bench is asking them to call it just as Cecilia is out on their initial. A solid jam for Made in China, picking up 12 points for Rat City, bringing up the score to 43, keeping Kansas City at 108 there.
And less than a minute left in this half. We have Steel and Stabby Cat out on the jam line. Should be calling 5 seconds in about now. And it looks like Rat City's going to roll back a little bit from the Arizona Goat Yoga pivot line. But it is going to be Steel that's out there as your lead jammer, taking that inside line. Stabby Cat fighting past those last couple blockers, trying to find space on the outside corner in turn 2. They do find it and are out of the pack, while Steel is back in and going on the outside, picking up all 4 points and leaving Rat City scoreless. Score is now 112 points for Kansas City to Rat City's 43.
Will we see one more jam? I mean, the clock is pretty much done, and as I say that, intermission is called. So at the end of that first half, we have Kansas City sitting at 112 and Rat City at 43. We still have one half of this game left in the second game of Saturday here at Monsoon Madness. I'm Vampira.
I'm Hit Me Brewston.
And we'll be back.
They call it a sport, but we know better. It's a symphony of dedication, grit, and heart. Tuned to one another in a composition of chaos on a stage built for progress. Athlete-driven innovation from the first whistle to the final score. Every hit, every fall, every win, every loss, every team, every season, every body. We've got you covered.
Artlist.io. Music licensing reimagined. Artlist.io. Music licensing reimagined. Artlist.io. Music license. Artlist.io. Music licensing reimagined.
They call it a sport, but we know better. It's a symphony of dedication, grit, and heart. Tuned to one another in a composition of chaos on a stage built for progress. Athlete-driven innovation from the first whistle to the final score. Every hit, every fall, every win, every loss, every team, every season, every body. We've got you covered.
Artlist.io. Music licensing reimagined. Artlist.io. Music license. Artlist.io. Music licensing reimagined. Artlist.io. Music licensing reimagined. Artlist.io.
They call it a sport, but we know better. It's a symphony of dedication, grit, and heart. Tuned to one another in a composition of chaos on a stage built for progress. Athlete-driven innovation from the first whistle to the final score. Every hit, every fall, every win, every loss, every team, every season, every body. We've got you covered.
Artlist.io. Music license. Artlist.io. Music licensing reimagined. Artlist.io. Music licensing reimagined. Artlist.io. Music licensing reimagined. Artlist.io.
They call it a sport, but we know better. It's a symphony of dedication, grit, and heart. Tuned to one another in a composition of chaos on a stage built for progress. Athlete-driven innovation from the first whistle to the final score. Every hit, every fall, every win, every loss, every team, every season, everybody. We've got you covered.
Music licensing reimagined.
Really not that much. They have one player that has 3, a few with 2, and then just a couple with a singular penalty for a total of 14. So really, we're not really doing too bad penalty-wise. Nobody's really in any penalty trouble. But as far as the second half goes, normally things really switch up at the halftime. So we have to see what the teams are feeling and how it ends up.
I agree. Yeah, second half is always a good opportunity to bring back, if there is a large point spread. So Rat City might have gotten a pep talk during that halftime and are, renewed and vigorous, ready to make some more points here against Kansas City. But Kansas City has shown us they have a really strong defense and really quick, effective offense for their teams. But a lot of their jammers haven't had a need for that offense. They get out pretty quickly on their own.
Yeah, they're definitely having some good offensive strategies in the beginning to get their jammers out as fast as possible, picking up that lead jammer status, and really being able to control the game that way and keeping Rat City from scoring.
Agreed. Give a little shout out to our officials who are helping out in this game. Speed Bump, Nerdy Little Secret, Griff, Misbehavin', Mr. Nitro, Angry Ogre, Morrigan, Doesn't Matter, Scary Reed, Dudbolt Asylum, Pika, Dak in a Box, Troublemaker, Tiny Tanium, Billy Motion, Hate Bit, F and Ref, and Thomas the Dank Engine.
All right, and that is going to be Manny Petty out there as your lead jammer. We have Roxzilla fighting in the pack, trying to get past those tough Kansas City blockers. And there is going to be a Kansas City blocker, the Pivot, sitting in the penalty box. And there is also going to be a Rat City blocker joining them for a little bit of company. Roxzilla is trying to find any space that they can, taking that cover off their heads, see if they go for a star pass. They have been having a little more success when they do the star pass. Trying to get a little offensive help there from McKenna. Nice holding on to the teammate shirt there to stay in bounds. They are able to get out of the pack now without having to complete that star pass. Manny Petty is trying to book it back into that pack. Comes through without being touched, picking up 4 points. Let's see, I believe it's going to be a total of 15 points were scored in that jam, bringing their score up to 127 and holding Rat City scoreless at 43.
And we're seeing Psycho Susie being fielded on the track against Ponyboy Hurtis. This is the first time Psycho Susie has been given the star in this game, but has had the star before. And as you can see, while Psycho Susie is successful at getting out of the pack, they did have to get knocked. They had to return to the back of the pack in order to return legally and get out of the pack quickly, because Ponyboy Hurtis is the one who has lead in this jam. And it's quickly coming around, but couldn't hit the pack before Ponyboy calls it off. Believe that is how many points in the air? 2 points picked up by Rat City, bringing up their score to 45, keeping Kansas City at 128.
Helvetica out there for Kansas City and Made in China for Rat City, but it is Helvetica that is out there quickly as your lead jammer on the inside line. Made in China has now made their way out of the pack and is going to try and force that call off. Helvetica hit to the outside line there. I believe that's by Master Bowder. And let's see, was there any points that were... there was a point scored for Made in China there. And it looks like Kansas City did not score any points. So that was actually an up jam for Rat City. Their score is now sitting at 46 points to Kansas City's 128.
An excellent last jam to show how much speed some of these jammers pick up, and they can easily grab a point if you're not careful. Got to keep those hips ahead of them, as we see Steele going up against Stabby Cat for Rat City. Steele taking the inside lane and his assessed lead for Kansas City. Quickly coming around the track, we do see Stabby Cat with star in hand looking for their pivot. Rat City containing Steele and knocking them to the outside of the pack to return them back into their tripod. Steele tries to side surf a little bit, but the tripod containing them and knocked to the inside lane. Stabby Cat looking for their pivot, who is at the top of the pack, trying to run some offense here, some passive offense, bringing some offensive assistance then for Stabby Cat. And Steele on a multiplayer being sent to the Night Owl penalty box just as Sin is given the star, and now is star on their helmet, ready to score some points for Rat City. Rat City running some quick O, pushing the pack up, but we do have Sin out through the center, out with 4 points for Rat City. Coming around for a second scoring pass, we do see Rat City containing a blocker from Kansas City in the back, hoping to let Cinnamon push the pack up to push them out of play, but Rat City running some offense instead to break apart that tripod and takes the inside out with 4 points just as Steele is released from the Night Owl penalty box. runs up the inside lane and is skipping around that pack. Spins around and out on their initial scoring pass. Picks up 4 points for Kansas City, just as Sin comes around for another scoring pass. This is a full 2-minute jam. Again, no lead here, so we have a full 2 seconds left before the jam is over. At the end of that jam, that is 13 points in the air for Rat City, 5 gained by Steele here, bringing up the score to 6 points made by Steele, bringing up the score to 134 for Kansas and 59 for Rat City.
And for those of you wondering, yes, jammers can also get multiplayer penalties. If those arms are challenged in a shirt whip as they were, you can also get a multiplayer. And Manny Petty is here fighting for Kansas City in the front of the pack, where Sheer Force is trying to find space on the back. And that is going to be lead jammer for Manny Petty, while there is a blocker for Rat City going to the box on a multiplayer penalty. Sheer Force is fighting against this 4-wall here from Kansas City in the front of the pack, while Manny Petty is re-entering, trying to really bump that inside line. I'm really noticing that Kansas City is really taking advantage of that inside line there. Any space that they can get, those jammers are right on it. Just like Manny Petty just was, finding that space, getting out for 4 points. Sheer Force trying to find their way through, trying to get a little bit of offensive help. And there is a star pass, and it is Master Bowder now. That is going to be the jammer of record for Rat City, forcing the call off from Manny Petty, who, let's see, I may have picked up a couple more points. They picked up, it looks like, 3 points for a total of 7 in that jam. So Kansas City is now at 141 points, leaving Rat City scoreless at 59. About 22 and a half minutes left in the half.
That is right. Still plenty of derby on this track. Psycho Susie going up against Rockzilla for Rat City. Rock being knocked to the outside of the track and recycled by Serial Killer, who is containing them into their tripod as Psycho is out with lead for Kansas. Multiplayer being assessed to Rock. Psycho takes a bit of a spill and calls off the jam just as Rockzilla made it to the Night Owl penalty box, icing them out in that penalty box. We will have a power jam. Oh, they may have called it for an injury for Psycho, so they're going to assess them real quick. Hopefully they'll do okay. We'd like to thank our medics for being here throughout the weekend, keeping our skaters safe and well taken care of. And all of our volunteers, really. Thank you all for making this happen. We can't do it without you.
Make sure to thank a volunteer today. And yeah, that looks like it was precautionary. She did get up saying that she was fine, but there was a head bump there, and we want to make sure that we keep our noggins safe because we only get one of those. So Helvetica is out there for Kansas City and Rockzilla for Rat City. We've seen this matchup quite a few times today. And Rockzilla is starting off in the penalty box, so this is a power start. Helvetica finding that space again on that inside line, picking up lead jammer. Yeah, Rat City trying to figure out how to get back together to give some better defense. Although they are having a little bit of penalty trouble. There's some blockers recycling through the box now. Helvetica is re-entering the pack, and Rockzilla is also back in. Helvetica tried that outside line, wasn't successful, then tried the inside line. She's trying to go through hips forward. Rockzilla trying to get past the 4-wall. This tripod of Rat City is actually doing quite well at holding that jammer now. Got another blocker coming in from the box from Rat City. While there is a beautiful lineup there from the Kansas City blockers, giving a lane there for their jammer to score some points. She did pick up all 4 points in that pass. And there is a team timeout that is being called by Rat City. Give them a little bit of time to reset and regroup.
And gives us time to thank our sponsors. That is Crash Course. Crash Course presents Derby in Paradise, a 7-day roller derby retreat to recharge your body, reignite your game, and connect with new roller derby vigor. Check out Crash Course. We'd also like to thank all of our vendors who are here out in Vendor Village. Go check out Lost Dutchman Tattoo. If you want to get some tattoo, one of the oldest tattoo shop locations in Phoenix, specializing in American traditional, black and gray, fine line, Japanese, new school, neo-traditional, anime, and cover-ups. Check out Lost Dutchman Tattoo in the back, over there in the back corner. Plenty of tattoos to check out. Or if you want to, take care of your body in some way, you have Platinum IV Therapy also there in the back. They offer hydration and vitamin therapy designed to help you perform at your best. And that's the end of that team timeout. We're ready to get back into the action as everybody takes the track and is nice and tight up against the Razor Cake jammer line. 5-second call. And we have Ponyboy Hurtis for Rat City going up against Steel for Kansas. Ponyboy Hurtis going out through the center, but who was assessed lead? Who was it? Ponyboy is lead for Rat City, but followed closely behind by Steel, who jumps the apex as both catch up to that pack in the first turn. How many points were scored? Let's take a look. I believe that was a scoreless jam, both holding goose eggs in the air.
I like that, goose eggs.
Yeah, goose eggs. But an impressive run nonetheless.
Made in China and Manny Petty out there on the Razor Cake jam line. Made in China was trying to go along the inside, fell down, but it is Manny Petty on that outside line now, picking up the lead jammer. And there is a forearm penalty that is being assessed to Made in China, making this a power jam. But we're going to have a little swippity swap. Manny Petty is now also heading to the box. So this is going to be a 2-minute jam.
And a jammer do-si-do.
Jammer wasn't officially correctly released. Or there may have been a second penalty that was assessed to Made in China, so she was not allowed out of the box yet. So Manny Petty did come in nice and hot, tried for the inside, did successfully get it, picking up 4 points. Reapproaching the pack, hitting center seam, pushing through, and picking up another 4. Made in China is now also out of the box. Trying to get a little bit of offensive help there. Now pushing in the front of the pack while Manny Petty is trying to find any space on the inside against that Rat City wall. Manny Petty tried to call it, but forgot this is a full 2-minute jam. We have about 22 seconds left in this jam. So they're just going to have to fight it out, see if anybody can make any more progress in this jam. Both walls seem to be holding nice and tight. There is a little bit of offensive help there on that outside, getting Manny Petty 4 more points. And that is going to be the natural conclusion of that jam. Kansas City picking up 12 points. Their score is now 162 points. Rat City is still holding strong at 59. About 17 and a half minutes left in this game. Let's see how it turns out.
Let us see, indeed. That is Psycho Susie on the track going against Stabby Cat. Stabby Cat trying for the inside lane. Meanwhile, we do see Psycho Susie just spinning around and side surfing, but a forearm assessed on Psycho Susie, sending them to the Night Owl penalty box. So this is a power jam for Stabby Cat, who still hasn't gotten out on their initial, but is out. Oh, but taken out by Serial Killer. He has to come back around. But Serial Killer being assessed a penalty for their troubles and is sent to the Night Owl penalty box, allowing Stabby Cat through with lead for Rat City. This is a perfect opportunity for them to run some O before the return of Psycho Susie, who is standing in the box, but now released and about to hit the pack here. A nice tripod being set up in the back, but Psycho Susie breaking through that seam easily. How many points were made for that jam? That was 3 points in the air made by Stabby Cat for Rat City, but it is a scoreless jam for Kansas City. We are now 162 to 62, a 100-point lead for Kansas City here with 16 minutes left.
Helvetica out there again against Sheer Force on the Razor Cake Jam line. Both packs kind of rolling back there from no man's land. Rat City's Sheer Force trying to take the inside. Helvetica finding space on the outside, taking a little bit of the tumble. She was declared the lead jammer, but still has 2 more blockers to fight through to finish getting out of that pack. Sheer Force is now fighting in the front of the pack. There is a forearm that's being assessed to rabies. Helvetica hitting that pack again, making one of those blockers take a tumble. Is going to try and take advantage of that inside line space. But Sheer Force is now re-entering the pack, and there is a Kansas City blocker that is now also in the box. So both packs are going to be starting down 1 in this next jam. And it looks like one Rat City blocker now is at 5 penalties. So got to make sure we skate clean the rest of the game so we can stay and play.
Was that a goose egg jam? I think it was a
goose egg jam. Big old goose eggs.
And that is Steel going up against Rockzilla, and Steel through the inside with the one skate up as their assessed lead. A little bit of a spill here at turn 1. Rockzilla on the ground, but coming back up to look for that O that was being run by number 168 from Rat City. That is Wi-Fly. And out with 4 points in the air is Steel. You do see Sin being sent to the penalty box, so this will be all of Rockzilla's efforts, who is out on their initial. Steel looking to the bench. Looks like they're waiting to let one of their blockers out of that penalty box, which, just as they call it, we do see the release of Breeks Hit Her House from the Night Owl penalty box, keeping the pivot for Rat City in the box. So a pack advantage in this next jam for Kansas City, along with no pivot on the track for Rat.
And we're going to take an official timeout. This timeout is brought to you by Crash Course. Crash Course helps roller derby athletes build strength, track confidence, and winning habits to become MVPs on and off the track. Want to make 2-minute jams feel easy? Visit ChrissyCrash.com for a 1-month trial of Roller Derby Training Club fitness app for just $1. Life is a contact sport. Win. This event is also sponsored by Derby Date Night. Good derby, bad jokes. Be a third wheel with Aria and Sirius on their Derby Date Nights, a roller derby live stream YouTube channel filled with big hits and bigger laughs. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the hilarious commentary, great camera angles, and live chat fun. You can find them on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram at Derby Date Night.
And as we return to the track, we see Psycho Susie going up against Ponyboy Hurtis, who takes the inside lane, picking up their feet now with lead. Psycho Susie quickly out on their initial. We do see Sin standing in the box, ready to return, and it was released. Coming back onto the track, Ponyboy quick to call off the jam before Psycho is able to hit the pack.
Ponyboy was doing some nice, like, aerial work there, trying to get those hips around those blockers to score some points.
Anything for those points. You got to get past the hips in any way possible.
Sorry, that one was supposed to be mine. I got distracted.
I thought it was mine.
And we have another official timeout for you today.
Officials are going to take a second to discuss some things. It looks like so far we have a pretty decent penalty spread still. Nobody really at any risk except for number 120 on Rat City. That is Rabid with 5 penalties. So, just a couple more penalties and they might foul out. But, we're almost towards the end of the game. Just got to be a little more cautious.
Trying to get some of the sponsors in there.
All right.
Just kidding. I'll do the realtor one next. The next little break. And I see Made in China out there for Rat City out there against Helvetica. But it is Made in China on the inside line picking up lead jammer. Let's see if Rat City can do a good job of holding Helvetica. She's been giving them She's been giving them hell all night. Made in China is going to go ahead and pick up 3 points and call it, bringing Rat City's score to 67. They held Kansas City scoreless that jam at 170 points. 12 minutes left in this game.
Despite the point spread, this still has been a hard-hitting, fast game. I think we got to give it up to both our teams here, Kansas City and Rat City. Let's give it up for our teams. I love them, you love them, and here we go. We have Steel going up against Stabby Cat. Stabby Cat pushing up, going with their offense. Their offense a little bit in the way of their jammer here. Steel taken to the inside and recycled back, being led up into the tripod. Steel side surfing a little bit and knocked to the outside. And skips through the inside lane, finding the path of least resistance for themselves. Assists. Indeed, Steel is assessed lead for Kansas. Stabby Cat still working at the front of the pack here. Kansas holding fast on them. All 4 really running just some solid defense. Hard to move them, it looks like. Steel out with 4 points in the air for Kansas. We're now in a turn 3 as the star is passed to the pivot. That's Ruth Beathurst Ginsburg. Now coming around, trying to catch up to the pack before Steel catches wind that they are coming up and calls the jam, forcing the call off, only picking up 6 points there for Kansas City. We are now at 176 to Rat City 67.
And that is Manny Petty and Sheer Force that is out there. But we are going to have another official timeout. We got to make sure our paperwork's all correct. It looks like we're just making sure some things are all in order before we get started. This event is also sponsored by Andrew Hawks. Based in Mesa, Arizona, Andrew Hawks is a member of realtor associations throughout Arizona. If you need a home or a cabin, Andrew has you covered in the desert and the mountains. Expertaz.com. It looks like there is a penalty that was assessed to the Kansas City Jammer, so this is a power start for Sheer Force. And there's a high block also assessed to a Kansas City blocker, making it a little bit easier for Sheer Force, trying to find a little space, knocking over some bodies. Having just a couple more blockers to get through. They're doing a great job of recycling back in front of that jammer, not really giving them much space to work with. Every time you turn around, there's a new one that's there. Some beautiful one-legged footwork there on that outside line there by Steele, getting them lead jammer status coming out of the box. Sheer Force takes the cover off their helmet. Might be looking for a star pass, getting a little bit of help there. And that is going to be Steele picking up 4 more points for Kansas City, while their blocker also returns to the track. There is now a cut track that is being assessed to Sheer Force. This is giving Kansas City a power jam now. Being told by the bench to run it. And this power jam is brought to you by RollerDerbyCoaching.com. Be more badass on the track. Online roller derby clinics to get you to your next level. Brought to you by Snot Rocket Science. Steele really trying to continue taking advantage of this power jam. Sheer Force is back on the track now. There's about 16 seconds left, and Steele is going to decide to call this jam. Let's see, picked up 2 more points on that pass, bringing it up to 186 points for Kansas City, 67 points for Rat City. About 8 minutes left in the game.
Five-second call as we see Manny Petty fielded on the track against Rockzilla. A little bit of a spill here on the first straightaway. Rockzilla side surfing through the inside. Manny also trying to take that inside lane and is knocked out and recycled back. Manny has been overtaken by Rockzilla, who has been assessed lead, coming around for a scoring pass. Manny taken to the outside and recycled by Master Bowder. But Manny takes the inside lane and is out. Rockzilla still working on their initial scoring pass, trying to get past all these hips to get all their points before they have to call it. Their bench yelling at them to call it before Manny comes around to hit that pack and catch a sneaky point. And that is 4 full points for Rock, keeping Kansas City scoreless. We are at 186 to Rat City's 71.
Psycho Susie and Ponyboy Hurtis out on the Razor Cake jam line. And we're off. Ponyboy trying to the inside to the outside, pushing towards the front. Psycho Susie pushing towards that back, really muscling through, finding space on the inside line, and is declared lead jammer. There is a Rat City blocker going to the penalty box. And there has been a star pass for Rat City. Your new jammer of record is Cinnamon Slam. Psycho Susie out of the pack and is going to decide to call it before any points can be scored. So that was 4 points up on the board for Kansas City, bringing their score up to 190 points, holding Rat City at 71. There was a run before that.
5-second call as the teams skate away from the Goat Yoga pivot line, and we see Helvetica taking the outside lane. Around the outside is assessed lead. Maiden taken to the inside lane and recycled back, hitting the tripod at the front of the pack. Rat City trying to contain Helvetica. Helvetica recycled back tripod holding fast on Helvetica, but Maiden still working on their initial. Taken back by Brick. Some offense being run there by Rat City to break up that tripod that's been holding fast on Maiden. Helvetica just knocking down these Rat City blockers, and is this given 4 points as they get out on their scoring pass. Helvetica coming around for a second scoring pass and just jukes their way out through the outside of that apex. Maiden now passing the star over to Ruth. Ruth coming around for some points. Did they get that sneaky point? I don't believe they got that sneaky point, but it was almost past that hip. So at the end of that jam, 8 points were picked up by Helvetica, bringing up their score to 198, keeping Rat City at 71. 4 minutes left on the clock here on the second half of this game. That is a timeout being called. Team timeout by Kansas City. Got to take a breather here for all of us here. This team timeout brought to you by RollerCon 2026. If you love roller skating, you know that the magic happens when Roller Derby Park and roller skaters of all disciplines get together. Join RollerCon 2026 in Las Vegas, Nevada at the Expo Center between July 8th and 12th next year. You can enter the raffle to win a RollerCon MVP pass for just $5. You can go to the merch table or online to get that raffle ticket and see if you'll win that MVP pass to go to RollerCon.
Only $5?
Only $5. Or if you want to, pay more than $5 to make your chances better of winning that MVP pass, you can, double, triple, quadruple your chances.
RollerCon can get quite expensive, so I wouldn't mind a $5 ticket.
Exactly. $5 just to save you a couple hundred, maybe like $100 for an MVP pass, right? It's like $100 and something.
That's if you buy it
ahead of time.
Yeah, when it first opens.
And if it doesn't sell out.
If it doesn't sell out. Steel and Stabby Cat out there on the Razor Cake Jam line. And Stabby Cat's pushing their way in the front of the pack. And a multiplayer is being assessed to a Kansas City blocker. Kansas City's jammers trying to fight in the back while Rat City's holding it down. And Rat City is also declared lead jammer. Stabby Cat making their way back into the pack while Steel is being held there by that tough Rat City wall in the back. Stabby Cat tries to take the inside line, is bumped in and recycled back, while Steel is now out of the pack on the outside. Stabby Cat gets through, picks up their 4 points, and does decide to call it. The score now is 198 points for Kansas City and 76 for Rat City with 3 minutes left in the game.
Only 3 minutes?
Only 3 minutes.
That's a good couple of jams here. Looks like the packs have decided to take their stance there at the Arizona Goat Yoga pivot line. And there we go. That's Manny Petty through the inside lane. Assessed lead against Sheer Force. Sheer Force also taking the outside lane and overtaking Manny, forcing the call off. A beautiful little race between two jammers, keeping that scoreless, giving us a beautiful set of goose eggs. So we're still at 198 to Rat City 76 with less than 2.5 minutes left.
That's Psycho Susie out there against Rockzilla. Psycho Susie trying to go to the inside. Rockzilla to the out, taking a little tumble. It's Psycho Susie on the inside, picking up lead jammer. Psycho Susie, or not, Rockzilla has the cover off of her helmet. Psycho Susie hit to the outside line there. I believe that's Velvet. That was a nice recycle back on Psycho Susie. There is a direction being called on Lucifer, the pivot for Kansas City. So leaving Psycho Susie out there by herself, but she's doing just fine. Little tiptoe on the outside, picking up 4 points. Roxilla's fighting past the 2 blockers on the track in the front there. Little side surf, getting out. Psycho Susie is going to go ahead and try and play with her jammer food. But it looks like Roxilla was going to try and play with Psycho Susie, but instead got themselves a direction. So this is a power jam for Psycho Susie. There's about 35 seconds left in the jam. And there is another penalty. Let's see, it was a forearm that's being assessed to a Rat City blocker, joining their jammer over there. Psycho Susie trying to get past this last little bit of the jam. She's able to run out the clock and picks up 4 more points on that outside line. Taking it easy, just trying to let this time run out, and it is the conclusion of that jam, and I believe the conclusion of the game.
Yep, that's the unofficial score. Where are we sitting at?
We are at 210 points for Kansas City's and 76 points for Rat City. So Kansas City is going to take this one.
We'll wait for the whistle to give us our final score before we announce who will be playing in tomorrow's game. And that is the final score, 210 for Kansas City Roller Warriors All-Stars against Rat City Reign of Terror 76. That means Minnesota Nice will be facing off with Kansas City tomorrow at noon, and Baja B will be playing against Reign of Terror at 10 a.m. tomorrow. Come back after this game. We will see Rat City All-Stars going up against Arizona, the All-Stars. So tune in. We'll be back. Bye.
Bye.
They call it a sport, but we know better. It's a symphony of dedication, grit, and heart. Tuned to one another in a composition of chaos on a stage built for progress. Athlete-driven innovation from the first whistle to the final score. Every hit, every fall, every win, every loss, every team, every season, everybody.